Way back when I was just a chemistry teacher, living with my son who loves breakfast, and my wife that gave the saddest hand jobs in the house, half a block down the street from the desert, you know the place. Well anyway, back then life was going swell and everything was just peachy. Except, of course, for the undeniable fact that every single morning my wife would make me a big old breakfast of veggie bacon for breakfast. Oh, big breakfast of veggie and bacon every single morning. It was driving me crazy. I said to Skylar, I said, "Hey Sky, what's up with all the veggie bacon?" And my dear sweet wife, she just looked at me like a cow looks at an oncoming train, and she leaned right down next to me and she said, "It's good for you." And then she tied me to the wall and stuck a funnel in my mouth and force-fed me nothing but veggie bacon until I was 50 years old. That's when I swore that someday I would get out of that house and transport people to a magical, faraway place where the sun is always shining and the air smells like warm root beer. And the meth is oh so fluffy, where the addicts and the tweakers play their ukuleles all day long. And anyone on the street will gladly shave your back for a teenth. Waka waka doo doo, yeah, well let me tell you people, it wasn't long at all before my dream came true. Because the very next day, a local DA agency had this contest to see who could correctly guess the number of molecules in a drive-by meth lab. I was off by 3, but I still won the grand prize. That's right, a first-class one-way ticket to making meth in Albuquerque. Before, and I gotta tell ya, it was really great. Except that I had to cook with one skinny albino kid with excruciatingly severe chili pea odor, and the kid in that lab kept saying bitch the whole time. Then he had drug dealer friends ran out at us we tried to sell to, and they got to our RV and one of them looked like a Mexican Pauly Shore. Oh yeah, they saw I was on the DA ride along, and they went into a tailspin where they tried to kill me, and red phosphorus exploded in a giant fireball and everybody died except for me. You know why? 'Cause I had my respirator mask on and my back shut in the door in the full upright position. Had my respirator mask on and my back shut in the door in the full upright position. Had my respirator mask on and my back shut in the door in the full upright position. So I crawled from the twisted, burning wreckage. I crawled on my hands and knees for 3 full days, dragging along these dead bodies in a suitcase in my garment bag, and my meth lab and my 12-year-old life partner, and my lucky autographed glow-in-the-dark black top hat. But finally I arrived at the world-famous Tuco Salamanca, where the meth is oh so tight, and you can sniff your meth right out of the knife if you wanna. It's okay, it's clean. clean.
Oh, well, I checked into his room and I turned up the fulminated mercury and I turned up an explosion. And I'm just about to spend that little $50,000 I got from the deal with him that I love so very, very much, when suddenly there's a knock on the door. Well, now, who could that be? I say, who is it? No answer. Who is it? There's no answer. Who is it? I'm the one who knocks. They're not saying anything. So finally I go over and I open the door, and just as I suspected, it's some big fat Mexican with a flock of buzzards haircut, and who turns out to be Tuco. Oh man, I hate it when I'm right. So anyway, he drags me into the desert and he grabs my lucky top hat, and I'm like, hey, you can't have that. That top hat's been just like being Heisenberg to me. And he's like, tough, and I'm like, give it, and he's like, make me, and I'm like, okay. So I grabbed his leg and he grabbed my esophagus, and I bit off his ear and he chewed up my chili pea. And Jesse shot him with a gun, and Tuco still gave me a big scare. Yes, indeed, you better believe it. And somehow in the middle of it all, my DA brother-in-law got in a shootout with him after. And 20 seconds later I heard a familiar voice, and you know what it said? I'll tell you what it said. It said, if you'd like to call it a rock, please try again and call it a mineral. If you'd like to call it a rock, please try again and call it a mineral. If you'd like to call it a rock, please try again and call it a mineral. If you'd like to call it a rock, please try again and call it a mineral. In Albuquerque, Albuquerque. Well, to cut a long story short, Hank was able to finish off Tuco, but I made a solemn vow right then and there that I would not rest. I would not sleep for an instant till I convinced everyone I was indeed the one who knocks. But first I decided to make some meth. So I got in my car and I drove over to the meth, and I walked on up to my partner behind the counter, and he says, bitch, what do you want? I said, we gotta make more meth. He said, we do this my way this time. I said, well, you got any dealers? He said, yeah, I got Badger, Combo, and Pete. I said, you got any breakage? He said, don't worry, we're making fat stacks. I said, you got to handle it. He said, okay, I'm a blowfish. I said, you gotta expand the territory. He said, no, other crews won't take kindly. I said, you got any balls, testicles? He said, wait a minute, I'll go check. Yeah, I'm a blowfish, let's expand. I said, well, in that case, put Combo on a new block. He later says, I just got a call that Combo was shot by a crazed other gang members. I said, okay, my bad. So next another one of our dealers gets arrested, and we have to hire this criminal lawyer guy, and he immediately latches onto my business and start charging me all over. Oh man, this guy was nutty. We were tearing apart. You know, I think it was just about that time that a little ding started going off of our money laundering through my son's charity cancer website. The lawyer said you, I believe it went a little something like this. Shut it off! Shut it off! Charity! No, turn it off! Turn it off! Oh, oh, God, oh, God, oh, turn it off! Oh, oh, God! Charity, ah! was Gus. He was a chicken enthusiast with a slight demeanor and hair the color of, well, bald, just like mine. I'll never forget the very first thing he said to me. He said, "Hey, a man provides." That's when I knew it was true love. We were inseparable after that. Oh, we ate together, we bathed together, we even shared the same meal of South American flavored dinner. The world was our burrito. So I got hired and he brought me laundry, meth lab, and had two amazing lab assistants, Gail and Jessie. Oh, we were so very, very, very happy. Oh yeah, but then one fateful night, Gus said to me, he said, "Sweetie Pumpkin, do you want to see me order the murder of a child?" I said, "Whoa, hold on now, baby. I'm just not ready for that kind of a murder." So I ran over the dealers that did the murder and no one ever saw them again. But that's just the way things go in Albuquerque. Anyway, things really started looking up for me, because about a week later I finally achieved my lifelong dream. That's right, I murdered Gail, got me the permanent full-time job as the meth cook. I even made employee of the month after I cleaned up that Victor blood mess with my face. Oh yeah, everybody was pretty jealous of me after that. I was getting a lot of attitude. Okay, like one time I was out in Gus's driveway trying to remove him as my excess boss with a gun, when I hear from this guy Mike trying to be the big ol' security system and bodyguard of Gus all by himself. So I say to him, I say, "Hey, is it okay if I kill Gus?"
And Mike, he just rolls his eyes and goes, "Yes, it's okay to kill the man I am sworn to protect." So I did. And then he gets all indignant on me. He's like, "Hey man, I was just being sarcastic." Well, that's just great. How was I supposed to know that? I'm not a mind reader for crying out loud. Besides, now he's got a really cute nickname, Sticker Boy from Better Call Saul. So what's he complaining about? Say, that reminds me of another amusing anecdote. Jesse comes up to me on the street and he tells he would kill to get rid of the hazard pay fees. Well, I knew what he meant, but just to be funny, I took a big murderous rampage out of Mike's 11 guys, and they're yelling and screaming and bleeding all over. And I'm like, "Hey, come on, don't you get it?" But they keep rolling around the prison, bleeding and screaming, you know, completely missing the irony of the whole situation. Man, some people just can't take a joke, you know? Anyway, where was I? Kinda lost my train of thought. Just like the train I robbed lost its methylamine. Anyway, I know it's kind of been a roundabout way of saying it, but I guess the whole point I'm trying to make here is, you got me. Which I said to Hank. That's all I'm really trying to say. And by the way, if one day you happen to wake up and find yourself in handcuffs because Hank's finally caught on after you said, "You got me," who gets overcome with blood and gore because the white power gang then killed him, and me then racked with the guilt and isolation of my pitiful, meaningless existence. At least I can take a small bit of comfort in knowing that somewhere out there in the desert I took revenge on their crazy old mixed up white power gang and killed them all, and then I died in this little place called Albuquerque.